Hello there, mates. I have no idea how to speak Australian. Well, doesn't matter that much, but we are in Australia here tonight for Delta T Racing. I hope you guys are all ready for the Grand Prix of tonight, as it will be the season ender here in Delta T Racing Division 1. The guys are ready to battle it out on track here with 15 people in Word Up Buttercup. How are you doing, Johnny? So as I said, 15 people in the lobby. It's hoping to be a good race. I'm just quickly going to have a look at the good day. Yeah, that's what they say, don't they? Good day or something like that. I don't know. The championships have apparently both been decided already, so there's nothing exciting there, but we might be looking at some other standings here. Constructors has been decided as well. Alpine has won that Constructors Championship. Did they, though? If I do the calculations right, they didn't. Maybe if Mercedes is only having one driver. No. The Constructors hasn't been decided yet, because the winner gets 25. Oh, it has. Because Alpine has probably won more races, and they are 48 points in the lead. If Mercedes scores P1 and P2, Alpine doesn't score a point. They're tied, but Alpine has won more races, so Alpine would win, if I'm not mistaken. So, well, congratulations to Alpine there. It could still be a battle for the top 3, maybe. It's between Ferrari and McLaren there. There's about 11 points in between the both of them. And then I'm quickly gonna look. Oh wait, that's even. Oh, that's Division 1. And then here we've got Division 1, the results of the Drivers' Championship. Grellis is our championship winner. He has won with a big lead, if I can be honest here. 74 points in total. That's quite a big points difference between the guy in P2. Brandon in P2, he can still lose his P2 of the championship here to Miyagi, so that will be very exciting. And then obviously Benny Bruno in P4. So a couple of guys out on track already, and I haven't taken the time yet to put the track map on there. Tire-wise, we're all looking at soft tires. It's looking a little bit cloudy here in Melbourne, so we might be looking at a little bit of rain for the guys throughout the race, but that is still yet to be decided. Maybe if one of the drivers is playing the game, can they let me know whether there is going to be a race either in the qualifying or the race, because that could cause some, not necessarily issues, but maybe a little bit of troubles for the drivers there as well. We're currently on board with Joe Hayward, as he's going to be racing for that Mercedes team, which has placed themselves in P2 in the Constructors' Championship. Joe Hayward himself is doing a pretty good job in the Drivers' Championship as well. I'm quickly going to take a look at my sheet here. So Joe himself is currently in P6 in the Drivers' Championship, so I'm really proud that he got that far into the Drivers' Championship, because we have got some really fast drivers on the grid with us tonight as well. Honey Badger, for example, he's not here tonight in the race, but he has been genuinely good throughout the season. Nelpo as well, Evan as well, Stewart as well, and he's beaten all of those guys. So really props, good job to you, Mr. Hayward. But there's obviously still 5 drivers ahead of you, so we might be looking at a little bit of a better performance from you going into the next season. Not sure whether the new season will be on the new game or whether they're doing another season on this game. I'm pretty sure they're waiting for the new game to start, because that only starts, that starts in around mid to end May, as Benny has now put himself on pole position for now. 116.8, somebody is in the grass there coming into the chicane, as Hayward seems to have a little bit of a tow from the Aston Martin, and they're going to be, oh yes, is the Aston Martin on a fast one? It's Waza. Oh, it's Waza indeed, and he was not on a fast one. He was actually on an outlap, so this will definitely be a report from Joe Hayward, possibly coming back into the pits, and there will be a little bit of a discussion there between the Mercedes and the Aston Martin driver. Is Waza going to start his qualifying lap? Seems like it is. I'm not going to say this looks intentional, but there's definitely a little bit of an awareness issue there from the Aston Martin driver. As NLD Rush coming around Sector 1 as we speak. Heading into Sector 2, he's got that Mercedes guy ahead of him. Brandon, who has been performing really well throughout the season as well. Currently P2 in the Drivers' Championship. That will either stay like that or he's going to drop a position. As his main competitor is Miyagi, of course, racing in that Haas car, still in the pit lane. As Mr. NLD Rush is already out of ERS, and that is something you really have to watch out for here in Australia. A new season will be on the new game too, apparently, so thank you very much for letting me know, Con. So as I said, you know, NLD Rush already out of ERS, so you really got to take care of your ERS throughout the lap here around Australia. I think he's even backed out of a lap. It didn't really look that fast here, not necessarily going through turn 13, 12 maybe, full throttle, so he's gonna go for another one. He doesn't have any... Is he going on a fast one? Oh, it was a fast one indeed. No, was it a fast one? No, it definitely wasn't a fast one. 119.6. With pole position being 116. Is that a fast one? I don't think it was it? Mr. Skipper out on track as well. The Dutch driver not necessarily doing... Wait, I gotta sneeze. All right, my apologies, guys. So as I said, you know, Skipper not necessarily doing great in the Drivers' Championship, but he's really a guy that doesn't necessarily give up. Like, he's been there almost every race now already, and the Dutch driver really putting himself in a decent position now, putting himself in front of Bombeer, one of the new drivers here. Berserk, NLD Rush, and Brandon as well, and there are some big names in between those, within those names. And a couple of outlaps here already, as Joe Hayward is going to try and have another chance at a good time after that little incident with Waza. And I'm seeing another Aston Martin on track, and I'm really hoping that it's not again Waza, because that would be a little catastrophic for Joe Hayward, as he's currently trying to heat up the tires. And with not necessarily proudness, I can say that I've been trying to pick up my wheel again, so I've been trying to get into the racing environment again. So I hope you guys, well, not necessarily are going to see me someday racing for Delta T Racing, but it would be quite fun if I could join for 1 or 2 races and show you what I've got on track. I've done my first race last Sunday and I got P3, so I'm very happy with that. As Joe Hayward is coming into Sector 1 as we speak. Into turn 1 and 2, you've got a little bit of a chicane there. A very fast chicane, so you really got to watch out here. Heading into turn 3, slow right-hander. Into turn 4, fast left-hander. Then another fast right-hander, turn 5. Really got to watch out for the curb on the entry and the exit, as you can easily lose the guard there. Turn 6 and then 7 and 8. As this will be one of the faster corner sections here around Melbourne. Always welcome. Thank you very much, buddy. And then he's got to, you know, tackle one of the more difficult sectors here on the calendar. Well, not necessarily on the calendar. Oh, the Ferrari was placed in a very interesting position there. As that chicane is definitely a very painful one. It kind of reminds me, I'm not going to say it's exactly the same corner section, but it kind of reminds me of Ascari. And I'll tell you why. Ascari is one of... Is it Ascari? I think it is Ascari, isn't it? In Monza. Ascari has 3 corners, while this one only has 2. But I feel like the corners have certain curbs on the inside and the exit, which kind of reminds me of Ascari in some way. When you take those curbs, you can easily lose the car or lose a lot of time, and that is something you don't want to do here in Australia, but you don't want to do it in Monza either. And I think Joe Hayward is going for another one, or is he already out of battery? Not necessarily using any battery, as he's just put a 116.6. So a great time there by Joe Hayward. So we might want to go on board here with Miyagi. Is he going to go for another one? Doesn't have much ERS left in the tank, so I don't think he's going to go for one. As Hacken might be on another one. Yes, sir. He's full of battery. And let's see whether he can put another good performance on the board here. Were there a little bit of water drops there on the, well, camera here? I was going to say the helmet of Hackett, but obviously it's the camera that we're looking at right now. He's currently put himself in P7 at 117.3. Not the best qualifying, as you can see, 1.2 seconds away from pole time. But I would say Grellis is on another level, so I think a more realistic point of view is Hayward's time at 116.6 there. and there's only about a 7-10 difference there between Hackett and Joe Hayward. So Hackett is really good on pace at the moment, really in the middle of that field, about a couple of hundreds away from Barry and at Kenji. And then also you've got a little bit of a gap from Evan to Kenji. There are 4 10s in total. And then behind Hackett, you've got Waza with about 2 10s. And then Brandon with about 5 10s. I'm definitely thinking that Brandon is going to improve a little bit more here heading into the later part of this qualifying session, as it seems like Evan just came across the line with a 1:16.4, improving on his time, as Joe Hayward has been pushed back to P4 for now. Hackett does improve himself up to P5 with a 1:16.8. So a great qualifying there from Hackett himself. Somewhere where we haven't seen him in a long time. I don't think he's been able to get into the top 5 for quite some time now already throughout the calendar. So really a good job there, Hackett. Congratulations. On board with a Berserk as well. It seems like he's used a lot of ERS heading... Oh, he's not on a fast one. Evan is not going to be on one either. 3 seconds down for Benny. He won't be up on his time either. Though Mikey has retired from the session. Will that be one of the Joker users tonight? So I'm going to have a quick look here in that Discord server. And looking at the attendance, we have got 1 Joker for tonight. And that will be indeed Lil Mikey. So the procedure there, drivers need to mark before the race that they're going to be using their Joker. And the Joker basically means that you're not going to be scoring any qualifying. Wait. So actually Mercedes could have won the constructors. Not necessarily the constructors, but the race. They could have won the championship. One of the Mercedes drivers. Well, no, it's going to be constructor-wise. Not necessarily driver-wise, but constructor-wise, they could have with the use of a Joker. If, for example, both Brandon and Joe Hayward used their Jokers starting from P14 and P15, and they would finish off the race in P1 and P2, they would still win the Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, the championship. So, well, maybe they don't have any Jokers left, but that is something that I would have definitely looked into if I were Mercedes. But maybe Mr. Khan in the chat would be able to give me more information on that. But as I said, Brandon is going to improve, and he does indeed. Right behind his teammate Hayward, with about a couple of hundreds away there from P4. I was trying to say something else as well. Oh yeah, what the Joker does, right? So with a Joker, you're not going to be qualifying, so you're basically starting from last place. But whenever you score points, you only get 1 per season. If they're not using it tonight, it means they've already used it there. Fair enough. I thought, wasn't it last season that you were allowed to use more? Like 4 or 5 or something? Wasn't it some rule? I don't know. It would have been... It's actually... Well, it would have actually been smart to use it at the last race. Because there's always going to be fewer amounts of drivers at the end of the season than at the beginning of the season, no? I don't know. Australia is also a good one to use it on, because you've usually got a lot of safety cars around Australia. Could have been something the drivers had to look into at the beginning of the season, but they decided not to, obviously. No, that was drivers allowed per race. Oh, right. Thank you very much, Johnny. Thank you. I'm still trying to get used to the rules, obviously. I mean, this is my 2nd season. You should think by now that I should actually know the rules, but I used to commentate for so many different leagues that I don't necessarily remember how many leagues had which rules and all kinds of stuff. So my apologies for the little confusion there, but I mean, it would be fun. Well, here's the thing. Let's say you're gonna give drivers like the option to use more than 2. So for example, 3, right? Let's say there is a cap of 3 Jokers per season, but the drivers only have to use 1 Joker per season. Do you guys think that every driver would actually use their 3 Jokers? Or would there be drivers that are just going to be using 1 and fuck it, I'm going to leave it to what it is? Or... Miyagi was up on his time, but it seems like he's lost everything again heading into Sector 2. And that might have been a mistake from the telemetry meter. He's not up in his time, 5/10 down. And he's going to push a little bit more. Doesn't have much time left. You mean a mandatory single joker with an option for 2 more? Yes, that is exactly what I mean, Daniel. Would a driver actually use three jokers? Like, would everyone use their 3 jokers? Because I'm pretty sure there's a couple of stubborn guys who don't want to use it. But do you guys think it would? Well, not necessarily. I'm not making any suggestions here, but it could be quite fun. Also, throughout a season, you know, whenever there is a league who, for example, Mercedes in this case, they could have definitely used their 2 jokers. I think every driver would probably use at least 2. Then it would depend on how their races have gone over the season to whether they use the 3rd. Hell, I would. Is that a yes or a no? I don't know. I think it's a no. No, actually, but in this case, like, there's 54 points between Mercedes and Alpine. Mercedes could have definitely used it in this race if they had another joker. I think it would spice up the season a little bit more, no? Like, basically, till the end of the season, it would spice it up a little bit more. I think it should be fun. It should have been fun. It's something to think about maybe for the owners. It is what it is. Still 2 more minutes in this qualifying session, and I really got to blow my nose. It would only be useful if we did a full season of races, like a full calendar. Sorry, that was a hell I would, meaning yes, I would use all 3. Fair enough. Too much with our 10 to 12 races. Let's say 1 or 2. I think 2 is okay, no? 2 for 12 races? That's like 1 in every 6 races. I think that's pretty doable. And you also don't have to use it if you don't want to. 2 for 12 races could work. 3 is maybe a little bit of an overkill, but 2 would be doable. That second joker would definitely be very useful here in this race for Mercedes. But then on the other hand, you've also got Alpine, who could be saving their joker till the last race, and it wouldn't be very interesting anymore. Waza parking his car in a very interesting position once again. And he's gonna go for another one. He's coming out of the last corner with a lot of speed there, slowing down a little bit on the entry, but then full throttle coming through the last corner. A little bit of a risky decision there by Waza as well, because every now and then drivers do tend to lose it in the last corner because of overheated tires and all sorts of stuff. So the drivers really need to watch out there. Coming around the last corner as well. Johnny in the chat says maybe everyone gets 1, then bottom half of the grid get 1 extra to use in the final 3 races. Well, the problem there is then, let's say you've got the last 3 races. Oh, that would a random grade. that would be crazy. No, but if you look at, for example, only the bottom 10 drivers, for example, who would be getting an extra joker, I think it would also be less interesting to see who's going to use their joker and who's going to save their joker, because the problem there is that the bottom 10 drivers will probably not be winning the Drivers' Championship anymore with that extra joker. So what's the benefit of getting that extra joker, if you get me? Oh, we've got Nell Boys joining the conversation. Grills has already given up. He's got a 5-10 lead, so I think he should be good there. We might want to go on board with Mr. Miyagi here, because his qualifying hasn't been going how he wanted it to be. It's improving by about 4/10 right now, as apparently you guys are not able to hear the game sound anymore, because my PlayStation is messed up again, apparently. I'm just gonna double check here. Apparently my laptop is overheating. I'm not even using anything. All right, buddy. 1 second, I'm gonna try something. I had this problem last week as well, when I was doing King of Leagues. So I'm just trying to get it started again for the race, and then I can also use the results for you guys. So let me just get it started. There we go. You guys should be able to see it, right? It's lagging again. What is happening? All right, but the qualifying is over though. So Grillis takes pole time here with a 1:15.8, more than 0.5 of an improvement on Benny's time. And you've got Joe Hayward with a very good result here, 1:16.3, not too far away from Benny. And then right ahead of Evan. And Evan has been scoring some decent results in the last couple of races as well. So Joe Hayward really outperforming himself here. And let's hope he can bring that, that same pace to the race as well. Alrighty, so results-wise, qualifying-wise, we have been talking about it already before, but let's go through it one last time. Grillis in P1, he has a lead of about 4.6 tenths here. Benny in P2, Hayward in P3, Evan in P4, and Brandon in P5. So a good result here from Mercedes. Further, we've got Hackett, Barry, Kenji, Miyagi, Waza, Pombeer, Skipper, Berserk, D-Rush, and Lil Mikey, who's going to serve his Joker for tonight. I'll have a look if I've got a... Oh, I do have a tissue in my pen, so I'm quickly going to blow my nose and I'll be right back for the race. See ya! Thanks, by the way, Johnny, for letting me know. That's really appreciated. Alrighty, we are back at it again. My apologies, I was quickly looking at my phone. Not that I'm a Christian, but I'm really getting into these Pope vibes, you know. The new Pope, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about it before. I'm looking forward to racing tomorrow. I should have joined tonight too. Yeah, actually, you should have. There's 5 more spots in the session, so you should have been able to join. It's a little bit... it's good for me, because now I've got somebody in the chat who's able to talk with me. But no, as I said, you know, I've been really getting into these Pope vibes. Recently, somebody hit me up, said, Thomas, we're gonna buy meme coins together, like these crypto coins, right? And I told him, yeah, sure. Like, I've bought about $20 of Solana just to put in meme coins. And like yesterday, I was the guy. I've been trying to getting into a certain Pope coin, like that Pietro guy, whatever his name is. And he told me, Thomas, you gotta buy now. It's a really low entry, and you're gonna make money out of it. So I just bought a coin for like $5 or something, and I made $1 on it. Yes, boys, 20%. Let's go. No, I was actually really happy there. If I would have put a 500k, I would have made about 100k. So I don't even have 500k in the bank. I more have like 500 euros in the bank, but I still would have made 100 euros. So that would be pretty good. No, back to racing, guys. It was a little bit of the Pope hype. I was looking if there was already smoke coming out of the kettle, whatever it's called in English. But apparently it's black, so no new Pope for now. This is the Daily News channel with VB Thomas. No. We are here to race, obviously. Well, the guys are here to race. I'm here to look at tires, first and foremost. 3 drivers on the hard tires, and we should be ready to go as soon as possible. We're going to go on board with Joe Hayward here in P3. It's 5 red lights for the guys in Melbourne. It's pedal to the metal for Joe Hayward and the boys in front of him. And a really good start there from the Mercedes driver. A really good start. He's already going alongside both drivers. Is he going to go around the outside? Seems like it is. And a lead position for the Mercedes already. It seems like Benny and Agrellas both didn't have a great start, getting pressured from behind by Hackett. Hackett now already on the inside of Benny. Is he going to be able to take the P2 from both the drivers as well? No, he's to stick behind Mr. Benny. Yes, Joe Hayward is currently trying to run away already. 9.4, 9.8, about a second already of a gap to P2. As the guys at the back of the field aren't causing any issues either. Pombeer did lose about 4 positions. And Mr. Miyagi didn't have a great start there either. 4 positions lost for the Greek driver as well. Lil Mikey does gain 4 positions. And this is something that we have been seeing for quite some time now from Lil Mikey. Really getting up that grid whenever he has a poor qualifying position. Grillis now on the tail of Hackett. He saw 3 drivers overtake him during that first lap here in Melbourne, and that is something you really got to look into, because I feel like it has happened to Grillis for quite some time now already. That he just has a bad race start, and here in Melbourne it proves once again that the race starts might need to be working on, because yes, of course you can get the qualifying pole position, but if you can't keep the position going into turn 1, there's not necessarily any, benefits from starting on pole every time. So really got to be something that Grillis has got to look into. But he's now looking for a move on Hackett. Down the inside he goes, shoots a little bit deeper there, but a little bit of contact between Grillis and Hackett does make the overtake. Hackett leaves enough room around the outside, and Grillis goes for a move. Now Hackett is getting attacked from behind already by the Irish driver Evan, as we might be looking at an overtake coming into the chicane, as the drivers are already having the DRS here coming through the S's. Well, there used to be DRS, and there is DRS here in F1 24 as well. But I remember in F1 23 there didn't used to be any DRS. So really, maybe a corner cut there from Evan. A really strange line heading into the S's. As Evan is going to go down the inside. Oh, and a late move there from Hackett around the outside. Evan, who's trying to stick it up the inside, but has to back out. A little wheel tap there from Hackett as well, letting Evan know, you cannot get past me that easily, boy. And Joe Hayward has been caught up by Benny. Usually that is because of DRS as well. There's not too much dirty air around Australia. I think it's definitely worse around some other tracks. It could be a little bit of a pain in the ass here whenever your tires are gone. But on new tires, I think it's definitely easier to keep up with the guy ahead of you, because there's not that many... well, I was going to say something, but then I was like, you're talking crap, actually, Thomas. So I can't necessarily explain it too much, but maybe there's too few amount of low-speed corners. And I think the low-speed corners are definitely where you're going to be experiencing that dirty air quite often, but also the high speed. I don't know the finer things of that, finer details there. But the top group of 3 drivers have been running away here. Benny, Hayward, and Grellis have already taken a gap of about 1.4 seconds, as Joe Hayward takes the lead of the race again with a move heading into turn 11. Oh, and was there a little bit of wheeling damage there? I saw some things popping up out of the track there, as apparently Evan has been catching up again within the DRS of Grellis. So we've got one big DRS train again, all the way from P1 to P12. Bombeer has got about 3 seconds behind, and you've got NLD Rush, who probably made a pit stop work already, as there is a yellow flag, but that has gone already. Joe Hayward now trying to hold up strong here in Sector 1. And you really got to watch out. Wait, can you not refund the purchase and say you bought it by accident? Yeah, fair. I thought about it, and then I bought it on PS5. I'm going to be PS5 accident. You guys have a good chat. Oh, is Benny going to go for it already? No, Joe Hayward defends the outside line. Benny is going to go for it anyway. Here comes Benny. Yes, sir. Benny going for a move. Grellis maybe into the wall. And that is a big crash from the Alpine driver. Are we going to be seeing any safety cars? Apparently not. We do have yellow flags though, but no safety cars. There's 2 fast drivers coming. Watch out. Bombeer, I think that is, and Berserk as well, as they're most likely going to try and make an overtake on Grellis ASAP. As Grellis obviously has a broken front wing. Bombeer backs out. Grellis going a little bit too deep there. Misjudged his braking point with that broken front wing. We might want to go back on board with Joe Hayward, because of that crash of Grellis, there's a big gap between Hackett and Joe Hayward now, because there used to be one extra driver in the middle of them who would give the DRS to Hackett, but would also get the DRS from Joe Hayward. But as he crashed into the wall, there's a big gap there of about 1.7 seconds. It's already shrunk to about 1.2 seconds now. So maybe Hackett needs to push a little bit more. And this is what I said before. On the newer tires, it's not necessarily difficult to get back to the guy ahead of you because he does have more dirty air than you do. So you just gotta keep up the pace and try to benefit the ERS as much as possible to get back to those guys ahead of you. Evan now with a move on Hackett around the outside. He does have the DRS, so we might be looking at a position switch here later as well, coming down the start-finish straight between Hackett and Evan. Is anything else happening on track? Seems like it's pretty quiet here in the midfield. Barry Bogorowski did lose a position. Waza with 3 positions gained, but we are looking at a penalty for the Aston Martin after that Joe Hayward incident during the qualifying. And Kenji might be looking at an overtake here. No, he's too far away from Hackett. This is not going to be an opportunity. Maybe Brandon, although he doesn't have the straight line speed. So he's going to have to back out heading into turn 1. But he's really up the ass of the Kick Sauber. And it seems like he had an excellent exit coming out of turn 2. Now has the outside line, and he's going to keep the position. Kenji breaking a little bit earlier, acknowledging that Brandon is possibly going to take that position from him. Now a little snap there from Kenji, defending the inside line again. Waza had to back out of that move ASAP to be able to avoid crashing into the Kick Sauber. And a little snap there from, and they collide. Oh, yes. It's Barry and Waza. A 10-second time penalty for Waza now as well, as that is something I haven't seen in quite some time there. I don't think it was necessarily Waza's fault. Like, he did lose his rear, but you can't necessarily give him a penalty because he loses his car, right? I don't know. He definitely broke that wing, definitely. Now it's Hayward and Betty fighting for that race win. And I feel like winning the last race of the calendar is always something spectacular, with Benny going for a move down the inside now, heading into turn 1, and that's going to be moved on. But it's always like, you can close your season with a race win. It's like saying, I've done a pretty good job during this season. Imagine, well, Gorillaz, if you're listening, buddy, sorry for this, but I would rather have, a mediocre, for example, I'm not going to say Hayward's season was mediocre, but I think going into next season, I think it's better if you have a mediocre season throughout the whole season and a race win at the last race of the season. To close your season in a good way, then, for example, somebody who wins every race throughout the season, and like in the last race you crash into the wall and you're gonna go into the next season with your last race crashed out. That is something that I would rather have, like getting that last race a race win, because it gives you a good mentality going into next season there as well. So here we go, Benny and Joe Hayward having a go at it again, but Evan is catching up slowly but steady. 1.5 seconds now, definitely because of the DRS that didn't gain much time there. But into the corner sections, he does gain some time. Here goes Benny for a late move down the inside, and Joe Hayward does have to let him go through. Evan and Brandon now having a scramble with each other as well there in P3 and P4. And being on that podium doesn't necessarily need to be a race win, but just being on that podium is definitely going to be something special for these guys in Australia as well. It's not an easy Grand Prix to either win or just get on the podium in. You really need to be concentrated on a Grand Prix like Australia. So I'm pretty sure most of these guys can. It's just a matter of whether you're tired, whether you really want to win this race. And there's all some sort of factors here that could come into play whenever you're scoring good or bad points. You know, Grelis might think, you know, I've won the Drivers' Championship already. I don't necessarily need to win this Grand Prix, and didn't really put much pressure into concentration or anything. Much time is what I wanted to say, not much pressure. That doesn't even make sense. Joe Hayward now coming down the straight, goes back into the slipstream. There was no point in making an overtake there, going into turn 1, as there is a little move here. Barry Bogorovsky coming into the pit lane, possibly has a broken front wing. Well, you've got to look at the tires as well. You know, there's different guys using different tires, and one of them is Brandon using those hard tires at the beginning of the Grand Prix. Currently on 8-level hard tires. We're going to see him be a little bit faster throughout the end of their stint compared to, for example, Hayward and Benny, as Barry dropped back to P11. It's going to be Berserk right behind him. Another position switch there from the leaders of this race. Once again, with the use of DRS, and that is something you do tend to see very often here around Australia. You know, DRS moves. It's not an easy track to make an overtake on, especially in Sector 3. It's very tight corners. Maybe here heading into turn 11. It could be an option, but still, it's rather difficult to make an overtake through there. Because you really gotta either be on the curb on the entry, or really be on the curb on the exit. And both parties need to be on that curb on the entry. Well, the guy on the inside needs to be on the curb on the inside, and the guy on the exit needs to be on the curb on the exit. But in those scenarios, the guy on the exit curb always loses time, because going into that curb, it's not always a great idea to do so. But I guess we'll see some examples later out throughout this race. But the Kicksauber boys both coming into the pits, that's not really strategic there. It's, apparently they didn't come into the pits at the same time, so that's all good. But as I said, you know, Brandon having some faster tires right now. We should be looking at the medium tires to come into the pits around lap. Oof. So medium tires, right? 12, 13 maybe? 14 maybe? Let's say 12, 13 and then go on to the hard tires. I feel like the hard tires are really powerful here. Taking chunks out of the guys in front. Apparently, Grell is there. Let me just show the leader real quick to see how much time he's actually gaining. Brandon going a little bit deeper there, holding up his very own teammate. And did he drop out of the DRS? Does he even have the DRS? Let me go on board. Apparently he does. So that's good news for Brandon. But he still dropped out of that 1 second. Really got to, well, put some pressure on his own shoulders now. Another track warning there for Joe Hayward. We've got some blue flags. And who is that given to? Because I don't see anyone ahead of Mr. Benny here. Evan. Oh, look at that. Miyagi in P5. What a great result from the Greek driver. He wasn't necessarily doing great earlier on. But this time around, I mean, he's doing pretty decent. We've got a lot of guys who already came into the pits. So he's basically the last person who didn't come into the pits. Well, the last person from the guys who didn't come into the pits yet. But then on the other hand, you know, 20-second pit stop. You're looking at, what, about P8, P7 maybe? So little Mikey might have to come to the pits as well. Let's go on board with Brandon and Benny again, as Brandon did catch up. Those hard tires are getting a little bit faster coming through Sector 2 and Sector 3. The main reason for that is because you really need the tire grip to go through Sector 2 and Sector 3. And it's really something you do have on those hard tires going into lap 11 here. Lap 12, actually. So a really good decision. Oh, and a 10-second time penalty for Joe Hayward. No, that's going to mess up his race. That is not a good way to finish off your season here, but he could still recover from it. You never know. Just cannot hope for a late safety car, because that's going to ruin his race. Oh! It's what happened to Max Verstappen, didn't it? He had a 10-second time penalty, if I'm not mistaken, for that incident with Antonelli in the sprint race. And then there was a safety car to finish off the race. And, well, he served that 10-second time penalty and he dropped all the way to P16. So, yeah, really painful there for Max Verstappen. But it's obviously a team's fault, not necessarily Verstappen's fault. So, oh, Grell is now with the fastest lap, 119.0 on the higher tires as well. So, he might be looking at... Let me just double check here. So Hackett was in P4 earlier. Was he in P4? Might have been P5 actually. He was in P5, so Grellis could potentially, if he has the pace and if he is more than a second faster than Hackett, he could be looking at a top 5 position here, but he's just simply got to cook a little bit. Brandon not coming into the pits, that's quite logic. There's a couple of battles on track here. Let me just put it back to interval, because there's apparently a few. The Mikey and Hackett who are switching positions as well. And Hackett now has the DRS, so this will be an easy overtake for the McLaren driver. Let's see what he's going to do coming around the last corner. DRS wide open for Hackett. And coming out of that last corner, you can really use that DRS really soon coming out of that corner. And it's really... a little bit dangerous in my opinion, because you might not have your car fully rotated yet and you can already use that DRS and you can easily lose the car. So that might be one of the reasons why the guys are actually losing their cars coming out of the last corner, as Waza apparently retired on track, and that's gonna be our first safety car. Con in the chat says was before, yes, and Grellis has been in 119s every lap since. He pitted and has kept setting faster laps. Phenomenal consistency. I agree, and I think the safety car is definitely going to help him. It's not going to help Joe Hayward at all, because he had a bit of time between himself and Kenji, and now that's going to put himself back to... The bigger question, is Brandon going to come into the pits? Oh, yeah, he is. He is. He's going to go onto the hards, the mediums. And Miyagi is as well. Will they last till the end? I think they would. You know, there's about 16 more laps to go. Ooh, Hayward coming into the pits. He's going to serve his 10-second time penalty. Ooh, would I have done the same? I probably would have. He's going to go onto the medium tires again. Serves that 10-second time penalty. What is anyone else going to do? Benny onto the mediums. Hackett is going to stay out. Miyagi is going to go onto the medium tires, and he stays in P3. Good position there for the Greek driver. Really consistent as well. Who else but Waza? That's not what I said, by the way, Waza, if you're listening. It's what somebody in the chat said. I'm gonna open up my window real quick. I'll be right back, guys. You can still hear me, actually. I keep my headset on. But it's with a cable, so I gotta really be a little bit careful here. Because I've got... What is it called again? Not the Sennheiser, but the Audio-Technica BPS1. No, it's the 2. It's the 2 and then some S, I think. It's the upgraded version or something. Although I haven't really been very happy with how it sounds. Like, it should be a really good sounding headset, and it just simply isn't. Like, it should be top notch, because it costed me like £500 or something together with the extra thingy I had to buy. But I got 2, so that's great. I mean, I only bought 1, but they gave me 2, so I guess that's a good thing. But I'm just not fully convinced about the quality of the microphone. Well, it's probably a PC's fault, or a PC's issue, because whenever you're looking at videos online, like that quality of the microphone is great, but just my PC doesn't allow my Audio Technica to be great or something like that. I don't even know. It doesn't matter that much anymore. I'm not gonna put any more time into it. So I'm just quickly gonna check my phone real quick, and we'll be racing as soon as possible again. I'm just gonna check Division 1, only 15, unfortunately, yes. I know it's last race, but I prefer not to be blocked off by my hot lap. Then I'll D-rush. That is probably exactly what Hayward was feeling as well. Sounds fine to us anyway, man. Wouldn't worry too much. Yeah, I know. Here's the problem, right? I used to be running like a solo microphone, like a standing microphone, and the quality there was really good in my opinion. But I'm someone who moves around much, and I didn't want to sit still right ahead of that, right in front of that microphone, because I had to keep my head still for an hour and a half. I don't know whether the safety car is actually coming in. I don't think so. So I didn't want to keep my head still. So I bought this one, and I was looking at the reviews, and like I said to my parents, you know, this is a really good investment. We got to do it. So I was allowed to buy it. I sound like a child of 14 that isn't allowed to buy anything, but that's not the truth. I just said, you know, I'm gonna buy this. What do you think of it? So I had to convince them a little bit, but it's proven to be a pretty decent investment. I can do lots of different stuff now while I'm commentating, so that's great. Just the quality compared to the standing microphone, there's about a 400 euro or pound difference there between the both of them. So I just simply don't get it. And I don't necessarily get how to change the settings anymore of this microphone. So I just gotta deal with it, I guess. And it is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, this is a really beautiful view. That was really nice. They should do more of those types of views on F125. I doubt they're going to be... Oh, there's a little bit of a position switch there in P11 and P10. As, if I'm not mistaken, Grellis made the overtake on Bombeer. But then he had to give that position back, because otherwise he would get a 10-second time penalty. All sorts of chaos here for the guys. Oh, safety car is coming in this lap as well. We will be having green flags. And then we're heading into lap 17 out of the 29 for some good racing again here. Oh, guys. That was a little bit too much speed, if I'm not mistaken. Berserk and Skipper switching positions again, as the guys here at the front of the pack need to slow down a little bit more. I wouldn't go yet, Brandon. And he's got a bit of pace here, but you gotta wait till the safety car has come into the pit lane. And when is that going to be? Hasn't come in yet. He's got to wait a little more. Here he comes. Is he going to wait till the last corner? Seems like he is. Oh, speeding up a little bit there. Evan almost in the back of him. Is he going to go? He's going to go. And Evan got caught sleeping a little bit. 410s there for the V-car. Bombeer has apparently hit the ball, and that's what that was. What that was with Grellis. Oh, fair enough. Grellis did make the overtake eventually on Bombeer. As I think Hayward is now looking for an overtake on Barry Bogarowski. Here he comes down the inside. Barry going a little bit too deep. And that opens up a spot for Hayward down the inside. Benny dropped back to P7. He wasn't really very lucky with that early pit stop. because the safeguard definitely did him dirty. No, it didn't do him dirty. Why did he drop back to P7? Brandon is already running away here from Mr. Miyagi. So I think it's clear who is our clear P2 in the Drivers' Championship and P3. Miyagi obviously not being able to keep up with the pace of Brandon so far. He's just outside that 1 second by about 1/1000th of a second there. As Kenji apparently making an overtake on little Mikey down the inside. Beautiful overtake. And as I said before, you can scrap that coming through turn 11 because those guys made that overtake without anyone touching any curb. So just ignore me. Sometimes I just say things to say things. Well, I do say things that I think need to be said. Is that always... it is what it is. Joe Hayward now with a move down the inside. Is he going to make it work? Yes, indeed. Benny, who left a lot of space down the inside in turn 1, just let him run away as Gorillas is looking for a move on Barry again. Apparently, those two have switched positions as Barry is on 9-lap-old hard tires. He came into the pits before the safety car already. Not necessarily... Well, I'm not going to say the best strategy because he couldn't have known that there was going to be a safety car. But that does leave him in a bad position right now. Here comes Grellis with the DRS possibly. Barry has got a lot of straight line speed. Look at that. Oh, but DRS of Grellis is going to be too powerful. Uses all of his DRS to get past the Dutch driver. That's going to be moved on for Grellis up into P9. He does have a penalty though, so let me just double check with the penalties here already from the guys on the track. 3 seconds for Evan, 3 seconds for Grellis, 3 seconds for Barry, 3 seconds for Berserk, and then last but not least, 3 seconds for NLD Rush. Joe Hayward is really putting the pressure on the shoulders of the Aston Martin. Lil Mikey, who's going to be scoring double points here tonight for the Aston Martin team, but also for himself in that Drivers' Championship. Hayward is going to go for a move. Oh, and this is something that I'm always curious about. How do drivers know that they actually got back? Oh, we're going 3 wide. Oh, no, this is not going to work. 3 wide, a little bit of wheel banging between Benny and Joe Hayward here, as Benny still sticks it on the inside. Joe had to back out, but a beautiful overtake there from Benny. He made a 2-way overtake work coming into turn 3, and that is something you don't necessarily see too often. As Grellis now with another 3-second time penalty. Yes, the pace is there, but the consistency is a little bit less track limit wise. As now Grellis is already making an overtake on a Lil Mikey as well. Lil Mikey should just be able to keep up with the pace as Hackett is having a heated battle with Genji now. The wrist wide open for Genji. Has the outside line. Is he going to make it stick? No, Hackett keeps it down the inside, but a better exit there from Kenji. That's going to be beautifully done by the Kicksauber. And this amount of racing we've been seeing for quite some time now in the later stage of this season from Kenji. And I really enjoy seeing him do so well here in the race. And I'm really looking forward to see where he's going to eventually finish this racing, because both of the drivers ahead of him have got 3 seconds of time penalties. So if he could somehow either work together with Hackett and Benny or just run away from these two, with Benny now trying to make an overtake around the outside, breaks way later than Hackett. Oh, and they collide, but it's Hackett who keeps himself alive. Berserk retired from the session as well in the pit lane. That will be his last race of this season. And Benny is trying to get back to the front of the pack. He's on the tail of Kenji, so I do tend to see Benny make that overtake on Kenji. Then Kenji has just got to stick within the DRS, the ERS, and Grellis has already caught up apparently, but 6 seconds is going to do him dirty here. Benny around the outside, heading into the S's. He's going to back out of it as well. A good exit there by Hackett, but also by Grellis. We've got 4 drivers. Oh no, don't go 4 wide, guys. Hackett now down the side goes way too deep. 2 drivers going way too deep. Grellis being one of them. What was that? Kind of reminded me of Max Verstappen in turn 1 with his battle against Piastri. What happened there? It was really funny. Both drivers going as deep as they could into the sandbag, or what do you call that? Sand bucket, sand sand, sand something, sand, how do you say that? Sand, playground, whatever. That thing that children play in, right? Little Mikey and Joe Hayward having a scramble with each other. Oh, it's Joe Hayward. Was a little bit too afraid of the curb there on the inside, but he does has to let little Mikey go. That's little Mikey now in the top 6. That will be, if I'm not mistaken, 16 points for little Mikey. And this is the equivalent of getting a P3 on the podium here tonight. So a great job here from little Mikey putting up that sandbox. That's it. Yeah, thank you very much. I wasn't sure what the word was. Yeah, that's actually the literal translation of what it is in Dutch. Zandbak. But then I was somehow trying to use sandsack or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter that much. Here comes Brandon onto the tail of Miyagi. As he did lose the position to the Greek driver, but should just be able to keep it within the 3 seconds of the Greek driver, and he should be good to win this Grand Prix. Obviously, if he doesn't get another penalty, because if he does get a penalty, he'll be having to battle for it. And those 11-lap-old hard tires of Evan are going to be more powerful at the end of the Grand Prix. These hard tires on this game have been really carrying people towards good positions. Last week, I was in, as I said before, sandbagging is the term, though. Yeah, no, that's not what. No. That's not what I was trying to. Because it's in Dutch, it's sandbak, which means sandbox. But bak sounds a lot like bag, so I somehow wanted to combine the English with the Dutch and saying sandbag. But then when you say sandbag in Dutch, it would be sandsack. But it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of Dutch drivers who are listening to this right now can relate to a certain issue that they've been experiencing already. But no, what was I saying again? Oh yeah, right. So how the hard tires are as powerful as they are on this game. So last week, as I said before, I got a P3 in Australia. No, not Australia, Austin it was. And I qualified in P11, if I'm not mistaken. I went from the mediums to the hard tires and really trying to bit a little bit earlier than all of the other guys, trying to stretch those hard tires for as long as possible. And a lot of guys went from hards to mediums. But I went from P11 to P3 just by staying consistent on those hard tires and just, it was crazy. The guys on the medium tires, they had, I think I was on 16-lap-old hards at the end of the Grand Prix. Let me do the calculations. Probably 16-lap-old hard tires. The other guys were on like 8 or 9-lap-old medium tires, and they were way slower than me. It's crazy how good the hard tires are at the end of their stint. Sandpit. Don't confuse him now. No, please don't. Why are you not racing? Good question. So, last Sunday's race was my first race I've ever done in 3 years. I used to be I'm not going to be a dick about it, but I used to be pretty good on F121, where I was still a little bit, I'm not going to say professional, but like, oh, Nell, oh, what, why did I think you asked me why I'm not racing? Such an idiot. So not much is happening here between the top 3. Miyagi's still in the lead of the Grand Prix. And Evan is just sitting around. I think he needs to make an overtake as soon as possible. Like, he just needs to get ahead of Miyagi here, and it's just not happening at the moment. Oh, here comes Brandon again with a move around the outside. The air is wide open for the Brit. And that's going to be moved up. Miyagi sticking to the tail quite closely. Needs to watch out, though. The dirty air could be painful coming through the S's. And now Evan can have a go at it. Little Mikey and Hayward having a battle with each other as well. Heading into the S's as well. As if I'm not mistaken, Barry and Hackett have both caught up. But Barry now trying to make an overtake. Would love to see you racing here, Thomas. Should I give my backstory again? Okay, so I'll give my little backstory. So as I said, I have been racing semi-professionally on F1 21. I was in some sort of esports team. Wasn't too big, but I did win a couple of races in a couple of leagues. And then going into, let's say it like this. On time trial, I was always within the one, or back in F1 21, you could be in the 0% of time trials. But going into F1 22, I somehow didn't have the pace on that game. It was just really bad. It was I was maybe top 10, top 15 in time trials, and my dignity couldn't take it. So I stopped racing on F1 22. I started doing commentary. I think that was around that time that I started doing commentary. Now we're in F1 24, and I'm still doing commentary. I think I've done more than 600 races now already. But as I said, I didn't race in F1 22, F1 23. A 3-second time penalty for Joe Hayward could be crucial there in his battle with Barry and Mikey as well. And Hackett, obviously. But then on F1 24, at the end of F1 24, the guys have been trying to getting me to race in their league, and I did my first race last week. So I haven't raced in three years, so I'm a little bit rusty. So I wouldn't want you guys to be mad at me for crashing somebody out. Oh, a little bit of a battle here as well for P6, as it's going to be Hackett with an aggressive move, I think down the inside. As he's now side by side with Lil Mikey. Is anyone going to back out? Doesn't seem like it. Hackett into the top 8. As Lil Mikey does give that position for free. Let's go back to the front of the pack, as there's still about 3 or 4 or more laps to go. And I'm really curious to see who's going to win this Grand Prix. What I would do if I were Miyagi or Evan, I would force Brandon a little bit deeper into a corner, trying to force him into making a mistake and getting that 3-second time penalty. Johnny, a little bit rusty, but would absolutely smoke all of us probably. No, absolutely not. I don't have the pace on F1 24 anymore. Maybe it could change in F1 25. But the handling of F1 24 definitely doesn't suit my driving style. Because whenever I go to a slow speed corner, somehow my car just, I don't know, doesn't hit the ground or something. I don't have control over my car. So there's definitely something that I'm doing wrong there on this game. But I'm not bothered trying to figure it out in the last 2 or 3 weeks of this race. But then heading into F1 25, I might be looking at racing for you guys on Thursdays, if that would be cool. Evan now trying to go for a move around the outside. But the Greek driver just said, yeah, hell no, buddy. I'm going to take this B2 to my grave, even if I have to take you with me. Hayward going to move on Barry as well. Down the inside. Is he going to give out a position? No, but he seemed to go. Oh, and there we've got that 3-second time penalty. As I said, guys, that 3-second time penalty is so crucial for Brandon. And now the game is on again. You don't know who's going to win this Grand Prix. Will it be Brandon, the season champion of last season? Will it be Miyagi? Or will it be Evan? Please make sure to put your predictions in the chat if you haven't already. The winner gets a big virtual kiss of me. Or a hug, if you prefer that. No homo, by the way. A little lockup there from the Greek driver. Evan is slowly losing time. And I'm going to take a look at the tires here. It doesn't make sense to me at all why he's losing time, because the hards should be better than the mediums at this point. The guys in the top 3 heading into the penultimate lap of the last race of the season. It's Brandon versus Miyagi. Evan with a little slower pace right now, heading into Sector 2. And the guys are coming around turn 3, turn 4, and this is really where you're going to see the tire grips still being as fresh as possible for the drivers. And you can really see that Evan has got way more pace heading into Sector 2 than the other two. And now he's going to be able to use the DRS around the outside. No, goes for the inside line. Miyagi with a late move. Goes back onto the racing line. Down the inside goes Evan. These two are going to collide. Evan is going to go for it anyway. A two-way overtake from the V-Carb driver. Side by side coming through the S's. He has to back out again. Brandon had the lead heading into the second corner of the S's. And now he gets another shot at going down the inside. Brandon going a little bit deeper. Broke way later. And it's Evan who drops back to P3 side by side with Miyagi, but he has to back out. Didn't have the outside line, which you do need coming into turn 13. It only gave you pushback. Oh, man. All right, here we go. Heading into the last lap of this Grand Prix. Who is going to win the Grand Prix? I'm going to make a prediction here. I think Miyagi is going to win this Grand Prix. Either he's going to crash out or he's going to win the Grand Prix. There's nothing in between. You know, after all, it is Miyagi, though. But it's all going to depend on who is going to come out of Sector 1 the best. Because that is heading into Sector 2. That corner section there is really crucial for that long straight. And then heading into the S's, you need to beat a car ahead going into the S's. So let's see whether that's going to be the case here for Miyagi. Evan, once again, a great exit. And I think it's going to be a golden time for Evan here as well, as Miyagi drops back to P3. Evan has waited till the last moment to go for a move, and he's made it work. He already tried a little bit the lap before, but this time around he was serious about it, and there goes Miyagi. Crumbles under the pressure, and I think Benny is even going to take P3 here from the Greek driver. So my predictions have been wrong once again. Evan coming around the last corner. He could be another potential candidate to look into next season's championship winner, but he does take P1. Brandon in P2, Miyagi in P3, and then it's Benny who's going to take, well, actually P3. A big battle here for P5 as well, although Hackett didn't have a single penalty, so he's going to score a P5 after all. Joe is going to drop back to P8 because Lil Mikey didn't have a single penalty. I think Barry only a 3-second time penalty, and then Hayward a 6-second time penalty. And then we're looking at Skipper in the grass. He's going to take P9 anyway, although his teammate is trying to make an overtake. No, he's going to back out of it. Good job by the Kick Saubers as well. Oh, what happened there? Kenji and I think Kenji somehow thought that the finish line was way closer to the last corner than it actually was, because he was swerving all over the place, crashing out NLD Rush. And then we've got Pumbeer finishing off in P12, if I'm not mistaken. P13 goes to... where did Grellis end up in anyway? Was it Grellis all the way at the bottom of the grid? Lil Mikey with driver of the day. Congratulations to you. I still don't get how they mess it up that it says Ferrari, but it is what it is. And here we've got the results of the race. Evan takes the race win, coming from P4 on the grid. Brandon takes P2. He has strengthened his P2 in the Drivers' Championship. You've got Benny in P3. Further, you've got Miyagi, Hackett, Lil Mikey, who came from P15 to P6. So a good job there by the Aston Martin. Perry in P7, Hayward in P8, Skipper in P9, and Kenji in P10. NLD Rush in P11. Pambeer Grellis apparently dropped back to P13. Does have the fastest lap with a 118.0. Outpaces everyone by more than a second, except for Evan. And then obviously Miyagi as well. And then at the front, at the back of the rear, Thomas, what are you saying? Go to bed, buddy. At the back of the pack, you've got Berserk and Owaza, who didn't finish a race. Guys, I would like to thank you very much for watching this live stream. It was quite a season, I must say, with some very spectacular things happening. If you haven't watched any of the races before, make sure to do so now, before we're heading into a new season in Delta T Racing. It will be quite some time before you hear me again, as obviously we're waiting for F125 to release, and that's still quite some time from now. So we'll see what we can do in the period in between. And maybe I'll be racing on Thursdays. You never know. You might be able to see me on track. But for now, I would like to thank you very much for watching this live stream, but also watching me throughout the season. Great. Thank you very much, Johnny. It was a pleasure commentating for you, and yeah, feel free to let me know what you think of the comms in DMs on Discord. It's really something that I'm trying to work on. Like whenever somebody has their opinions about the commentary, for example, yeah, I think you need to use the word less, or you need to use, or you need to be more excited. I'm really trying to work on that. I just need the information, when nobody tells me, Thomas, you're doing this wrong or you're doing that wrong, or we would like to see you do this more. We would like to hear you chat less. If nobody tells me that, I don't know, obviously, but that is something that we will be looking into for next season. Now, as I said before, I would like to thank you to watching my races throughout the whole season, and I hope I can commentate for you again next season. I'll see you guys next season. This was Sweet Thomas as your commentator. Peace out. Bye bye. Thanks, Harry.